Italy, home of my two favorite cities, Brooklyn and Chicago. And if I hadn't spent all my money on this very real, very expensive foreign suit because I wanted to prove how well traversed I am, I would be on a plane to Italy right now to get a big old bowl of spaghetti. So today's poor choice is dedicated to one of my favorite foods, spaghetti and pasta sauce, with some Italian sausage, of course. We're gonna make our pasta sauce from scratch, which is gonna be really easy, extremely versatile. You could even make this vegan if you want to. And once we serve it all up with some spaghetti, you will never go back to the jarred stuff again. It's gonna be fantastic. That means good in Italy. And today's poor choice is a Sauvignon Blanc. We're gonna be using this in our tomato sauce to deglaze the pan. And now is the time where I start begging for money. We got a Patreon, down in the link in the description of the YouTube page. $1 a month is all we ask for. Helps go a long way for paying for, again, stupid stuff like this. Starting out, we'll rough chop a large carrot, 1 stalk of celery, and 1 onion. Upon chopping our onion, we'll find this weirdness going on inside and walk away in defeat. See how my shoulders were lowered? Because we didn't do our #1 rule in buying round vegetables and fruits, and that is always buy 1 more just in case 1 is bad. But I was able to pop out that weird looking part of the onion and continue chopping, cause woo, I was not going back out in the rain for an onion. Put all those into a food processor along with 3 smashed cloves of garlic and give it a good old thrashing. Remember to scrape down the sides, and once your vegetable mixture, aka sofrito, looks like this, you're ready to move on. In a Dutch oven over medium-high heat, I've got some olive oil shimmering away, and I'm going to place a pack of uncooked hot Italian sausage in. I'm not looking to cook these all the way through, I just want to get a good sear on both sides. That sear is flavor, and it'll leave some good flavor at the bottom of the pot, aka our fond. If you want to use mild Italian sausage, you are more than welcome to, and then your guests can just determine their own level of heat after they make their own plates with some red pepper flakes. Once you've got the sausages seared, remove them and let them cool down. In that same Dutch oven, turn the heat down to medium and put your sofrito mix in and slowly saute for about 10 minutes covered. I flatten mine out to make maximum contact on the pot. After 10 minutes, uncover and see where you're at. The mixture should look a little bit darker like this. Give it a stir and then check and see if the fond at the bottom of the pan is coming up when you scrape at it. These vegetables have a lot of moisture in them, and sometimes that moisture is enough to deglaze the pan and work that fond up. If not, a half cup of white wine will do, which was my original plan, but the fond was coming up just fine, so I didn't need it except for in my mouth. Also, I want to mention that this is a good time to salt your vegetables as they saute, but I'm trying to watch my salt intake, so I'm going to be salting later. Cover back up and let it go for about 10 more minutes, so that's 20 minutes total, still at a medium heat. Now let's talk tomatoes. So you could use San Marzano tomatoes, whole peeled or crushed, and then just take a hand blender or regular blender or food processor and shred them into a more saucy looking sauce. Or you could try something you've probably walked past a million times and never recognized, a passata, which is just San Marzano tomatoes pureed. So that's less dirty dishes to worry about. And I think I've seen cans of just regular tomato puree, but those probably contain a mixture of different tomatoes, and we want to just stick with San Marzano. So make sure you're using a good passata. And I'm just going to toss that in. Also going to put a little splash of water in the bottles to make sure we get all of it out. So I think in each bottle I put like maybe half a cup each of water, and also that little extra water is going to help because this sauce is going to cook down and reduce, so we don't want it to get too thick. We'll also throw in about a teaspoon of oregano and a little salt. No real measurement here because I'll be salting later to taste. Also 1 bay leaf, and don't forget our sausage. I'm going to cut these into meatball-sized chunks, and remember, these aren't cooked all the way through, so 1, avoid eating it, like I almost did. But also, they're still pretty soft, so if you don't have a sharp knife, you could end up just crushing these or squeezing it out like toothpaste, so just FYI, take your time. Place the sausage pieces into the tomato sauce so they can impart their sausagey goodness, and don't forget those juices either. Then we'll set our heat to let the mixture simmer, and it'll simmer for 1 hour covered. After that hour, remove the lid, give it a mix, and then let it simmer for another 45 minutes, this time uncovered so it can begin to reduce and thicken. The last 45 minutes is up, and here is where we salt and pepper and sugar to taste. Sugar is optional. I like a nice sweetness to my sauce, and I think total I added like 1/8 of a cup of just plain white sugar to it. The salt and pepper was to taste. You're definitely going to need more salt than you probably think, so just do it a teaspoon at a time, mix it up, taste it, and see if you've got that familiar tomato sauce flavor. If there's not enough salt, it's just going to be bland. And this is a good way to learn the process of seasoning to taste. I think someone once told me that salt enhances the flavor of the thing that it's going in, while pepper changes the flavor of the thing that's going in. Remove the bay leaf, and then this is where we're going to take about 1/4 cup of fresh basil leaves, break them up so they release their oils, and toss them in. I didn't want to cook the basil, so I waited to the end so I could get some really good fresh flavor from them. Mix it up and let it hang out while you prepare your spaghetti noodles. I'm using regular size spaghetti noodles today. Normally I use the extra thin kind, but I had these. Which, by the way, I didn't use chicken broth this time for my spaghetti noodles, but I did use enough salt in the water that it tasted like the ocean. And I'm not kidding there. That is a good way to know that your water is salted enough. It should taste like the ocean. Then we'll transfer our noodles into our sauce. I didn't drain these because I wanted some of that pasta water to get into our sauce mixture. Stir it up and plate it like such. Now, this recipe is just the foundation of many things that you could do. If you wanted to add more herbs during the simmering process, go for it. The Italian sausage had all the herbs that I needed, but maybe you want to do more. You could also toss in a Parmesan cheese rind during the simmer if you got one, or add some butter to the sauce at the very end just to give it a little bit more body. The choices are endless, and for those of you who might need to make a vegan version of this, simply skip the browning of the meat part and just start with a little olive oil in the Dutch oven and throw your sofrito mix in. Everything else in this recipe after that is vegan friendly, so it's very easy to change this recipe up for the dietary needs of whoever you are serving this to. And that is Poor Choices Kitchen. Of course, I was sipping on white wine this entire time, and it absolutely was delicious. Spaghetti is one of my favorite foods, so I've been looking forward to making this for a very long time. And there is a link to a Patreon down in the description of this video. It is to support the channel, and all we ask for is just $1 a month. It goes a very long way in helping pay for a lot of these recipes, and I'm looking forward to making more. So happy New Year's. Hope you all are off to a good start in 2023, and I will see you back here next time.